Hey everyone, before this review gets started, I just wanted to quickly use my platform to give a voice to Black Lives Matter, the movement, and a couple of different resources that I'm going to leave linked in the description down below. I personally chose to donate to the Black Lives Matter global organization. I donated $100. I was thinking about and debating donating the profits of this video, but reviews really don't generate that much income. In fact, it would probably be less than $50, so I went ahead and decided to make it an even $100. I encourage you guys to donate to one of the resources that I'm leaving down below, and remember that Black Lives Matter. Not all lives matter, not white lives matter, Black Lives Matter. Hey neighbor, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and it's time for a review of RTJ4, the long-anticipated fourth studio album, that should go without saying, by the hip-hop duo consisting of LP and Killer Mike, Run the Jewels. We last heard from Run the Jewels in full album form with RTJ3 dropping around Christmas time 2016. It was indeed a Christmas fucking miracle. So many bangers on there. And I was expecting something different for RTJ4, and I do feel that they delivered kind of a darker passage here. We got a taste of the album with two slices coming back to back in April with Yankee and the Brave episode 4 in addition to Ooh La La. The latter of those being a bit irritating for me. The chorus is a little bit too piercing, but I think a lot of older hip-hop fans will definitely appreciate it. And then of course Yankee and the Brave, which felt like classic Run the Jewels. Realistically, now having the full album and seeing that those are the first two tracks and they were just kind of releasing them in order, it makes sense, and it really does give you a good taste because this feels like a blending of worlds. Of course you've got LP's banging production that really pops out on some of these tracks like Out of Sight, but then of course you've got some more experimental moments, stuff that we haven't seen Run the Jewels dive into yet, and I think that Killer Mike in particular really stepped up to the plate, knocked it out of the park, and delivered some of his best verses. The reason that Run the Jewels continue to resonate so fiercely over the years is because of not only the musicality, the production, the variety, some guitars, some sampling, there's a Gang of Four sample on here, but also, of course, the personalities behind the microphone. There's collaborations on this album and they do all feel very natural. They're not just going for a big name for the sake of having it. They've got everyone from Mavis Staples and Josh Homme. The latter of those I wanted to hear more from on the album, but unfortunately it's just kind of backing vocals, but still a nice touch. Zack de la Rocha from Rage Against the Machine once again, Pharrell Williams, Gangsta Boo. There's all kinds of collabs out here and they actually work incredibly well. One thing that really jumped out to me on RTJ4 is the slow descent into madness, and by that I mean our current reality. It's something that was actually primarily recorded last year, but it's going to feel so on the nose for current events, including the murder, the heinous murder of George Floyd. It's sadly not a new thing that's happening. Racial discrimination is something that's come up in their message time and time again, but you look back and you hear some of Killer Mike's verses, even LP being an ally. I see them talking about police brutality, about these issues, and it actually sends a chill down my spine because it's like we weren't really listening, we weren't really hearing them. Yes, there are bangers in there, but the message is incredibly important. So what I meant by the slow descent into madness, or else our current reality, is the fact that the first 4 or so cuts on the record are kind of setting up what's to come. They allude at some of the topics like police brutality, about violence, about discrimination, but they're not necessarily the focal point. And I do like that this record has multiple facets, multiple ideas that it fixes its sights on. It's not entirely a protest music, and while a lot of this record can feel quite apocalyptic and very fitting, I would say that there's some major bangers starting in the first 4 tracks. Yankee and the Brave episode 4 is one of those. Of course, that's Killer Mike and LP doing exactly what they do best, trading flows, and it's short. I wish it was a little bit longer, but then we move into Ooh La La, which does get irritating, although I like the verses and the chomping piano beat that kind of recycles and loops throughout the entire song. I think one of my top favorites on the entire LP, though, has to be Out of Sight featuring 2 Chainz. The production on this track alone is fire. Amazing. immaculate. It's just like a ball of hot heat that's circumferencing your entire being, and you just want to replay it over and over. Holy Calamaf features some brilliant production. The beat switch up in the middle of that song, you just want to inject it straight into your veins. And the segue from the end of that track into the next one, Goonies versus E.T., is something that I can only describe as ecstasy. On the tail end of the battle of the two 80s movies, Goonies and E.T., we get Killer Mike perhaps dropping off his best verse on the entire project. He goes in on woke Twitter culture, the people that say they're helping, maybe not actually doing anything other than screaming online. And it's actually kind of bold of him because a lot of people would probably not criticize that, but he's talking about how he's actually trying to do something, and if you don't believe him, just listen to a clip of the speech he gave.
So my question for us on the other side of this camera is, after it burns, will we be left with charred, or will we rise like a phoenix out of the ashes that Atlanta has always done?
From this point on, it is non-stop. They are relentless with their message, with their flows, even with the guests and the ideas that they're bringing about. Just with Pharrell Williams and Zack Rocha is another stroke of genius, the collaboration, and the whole idea of look at these slave masters posing on your dollar. It really does make you think about the people that are sitting on the bills, that were in control, that owned slaves at one point, and we still circulate the money featuring their face. Ground Below is a dark, visceral, pounding moment that really drills itself into your skull. Pulling the pin with Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age and the legend herself, Mavis Staples, is another incredible, breathtaking moment. I wanted to hear more of Josh. Look at the shirt that I'm wearing, of course I did, but I do think that his backing vocals, they feel haunting in the way that they would complement a Queen song, except it's Run the Jewels. Now, as I wind down the review, I have two more that I want to talk about. They're the top tracks on the album, the ones that you should really be paying attention to: Walking in the Snow and A Few Words for the Firing Squad, Radiation. Both of these moments are eye-opening, and if you don't have some sort of visceral reaction to the emotion, to the protest in these songs, I'd have to question your intentions, because my god, wow! In the intro to Walking in the Snow, I love the fact that LP and Gangsta Boo play off of each other before Gangsta Boo actually comes in with the hook. Walking in the snow, goddamn that motherfucker cold. To me, this talks about the trials and tribulations that the black community faces. For example, if I had to walk 1 mile, then they would have to walk 10 just to get to the exact same place. And then Killer Mike's verse here, especially with the I Can't Breathe lyric, that is something that absolutely brought tears to my eyes just hearing that, and knowing that it wasn't even recorded in the days after the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd. This is something that happens time and time and time and time again, and nothing is done. Finally, protests are breaking out. Finally, the police are actually being held accountable. But is it enough? No, change still has to go so far, and Walking in the Snow does an amazing job at highlighting that. The swan song for RTJ4 is A Few Words for the Firing Squad, and this is RTJ doing their thing at the top of their game. This is something that plays to their strengths. The beat just continues to build and build. They're chomping down, burning anything in their path, and I just feel that the tension within the song, the trade-off of flows, and then that sax solo, the outro that kind of comes from A$AP Ferg, and they talk about the whole idea of Yankee and the Brave being a show and everything that's going on being discriminated against. It's incredible. It's one of those moments where you just want to stand up and cheer at the end of the movie. RTJ4 might just be the best Run the Jewels album to date, and it's definitely got some competition for RTJ2, which is my personal favorite from them, but I would love to know what you guys are thinking in the comment section down below. For me personally, RTJ4 is getting a strong 4.5 out of 5. Don't forget that I put a couple of links in the description down below if you would like to donate to those organizations. It's incredibly important right now, and I hope that you will. If you want to see another Run the Jewels review, then tap this card right over here, tap over here for another recent album review. All of my socials can be found in the description down below, including my Instagram. Go follow me at ARTV John, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.